I can only speak to my own experience. I grew up in a family with wealth, and it was a family that decided to take the wealth it had and turn it into more wealth. So my thesis statement, it's this: there is such a thing as too much money, and it's bad for the world for sure, but it's also bad for the people who own it, no matter how counterintuitive that might sound. It is painful, soul-crushing, alienating, and morally corrosive for the people who own it. One of the first things that falls by the wayside amid the distractions of wealth is empathy. Over the past few decades, I've watched as the increasingly exalted 1% have crafted ever more creative, special, and private spaces for themselves, partially to shield themselves from people who do in fact want to rob and or kidnap them, but more than anything to prevent themselves from having to come face to face with the real world any more than is absolutely necessary. But there is so much silence and alienation in those separate spaces. The people out there are less and less legible to you. And so the doom loop circles back to tell you that you are, in fact, different from everyone else. The self-segregation that the wealthy tend to build for themselves is a consequence of a problematic tendency, for sure, but it also becomes, in and of itself, another perverse influence on their fundamental nature. And how easily does the idea of other transmogrify into the far more palatable idea of being special or entitled to all this special treatment? In a world where you are special, your wants and needs take precedence over the wants and needs of ordinary people. Your wants, in fact, are increasingly mistaken for needs. At the same time as empathy ebbs in you, the healthcare or housing or food so genuinely needed by ordinary people out there just don't seem all that pressing. Again and again, our most visible billionaires, because of this or some other combination of corrosive forces, and I have only named a few, because they believe that they are really that special and entitled, have held forth with their own incoherent, self-driven political theses and public behaviors that can only be described as childlike and even feral. Few examples of the messy, self-justifying political visions foisted upon the public by our uber-wealthy tech billionaires is more ironic and nearly comical than Mark Andreessen's ideas about what he calls the deal. But more, there are Peter Thiel's needy warnings about the Antichrist, Sam Altman's wish that instead of talking about socialism, we could just talk about everyone else being as rich as he is, Elon Musk's wish that we could put empathy in the rearview mirror. The examples go on and on. These men are welcome to their unintentional self-revelations, their insecurity, and their sophistry. What they are not welcome to is the keys to our democracy. Lives are quite literally depending upon us taking away those keys, and that will start with finding a way to get money out of politics and deciding that there is a level of wealth beyond which only madness lies.